Well, well, well. Every major media outlet and Neil Druckmann, all of those who complained. I'm looking at you, Paul Tassi from Forbes, talking about those angry gamers who review brigaded The Last of Us 2 and just ruined the score. Ruined it. Well, what if I told you that there now is evidence, irrefutable evidence, that review brigading happened with 10 out of 10s? Hundreds of exactly the same review. You'd probably say, why, Jeremy, that's a bold claim, Mr. Jeremy, Mr. Quartering. How are you going to back up? See, people like Paul Tassi, whom, you know, I don't, he is consistent. I will tell him that. I often disagree with his positions, but he is consistent and, for the most part, ethical. That, from what I can see, he's pushed this. Review brigading is dragging down the score of The Last of Us 2, and Metacritic, recently just changed their review system to now delay our ability to leave reviews for one day. It's not going to change anything. And as of right now, The Last of Us 2 has a 5.4. I think it was at a 5.6 yesterday. The game is a 6. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Yes, plenty of people love the game. Yes, plenty of people hated the game. But most people will find themselves in a 6 or a 7 for the game. If you hated the story, maybe you drop to a 5 or a 4. If you love the story, maybe you go to an 8 or a 9. But the game is not a 10 and the game is not a 0. The game is not a 1 or a 2 or even a 3 either. All right? That's just objective fact. The game was relatively free of bugs. The game looked very good. The game played decently. The story and pacing had issues, and these are all reasons that people took the score down. But for a long time, there was this narrative that, oh, that's why the review scores are that bad. That's why, if we just look at, let's see, review brigading The Last of Us 2, right? All of these articles. Here's PlayStation Life. The Last of Us 2 Metacritic review brigading is in full swing. The Last of Us 2 Metacritic page shows how broken it is. The Last of Us 2 review brigading, why it happens. People are review brigading The Last of Us 2. All of this stuff. All of these articles on review brigading, right? And I agree, okay? I have never denied the existence of review brigades. My only ask is that the people using it as an excuse be transparent. For every 0 out of 10, I hate this game, there also has always been 10 out of 10, masterpiece, nothing wrong with the game. Critics themselves reviewed The Last of Us 2 as a nearly perfect game, 100 out of 100. There is no such game. A 100 out of 100 implies there is not a single problem with the game, that it is absolutely perfect in every way. And that simply never happened, and it will never happen. It's also not a 0 out of 100. I mean, I would argue that with very few exceptions, anything close to a 0 has never existed. A 0 would be a game that probably doesn't exist. But that doesn't change how critics always whine about review brigading, but then they forget that it happens in a positive way as well. Even Vox, remember, audience reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are easily manipulated. That's about to change. What brought this about? Well, it was Captain Marvel time when they made the change, if I remember correct. But it was also about The Last of Us, The Last Jedi. When you have a divisive topic, people will want to leave their reviews. Sometimes those people have not seen the movie or played the game. However, this goes for both 0 out of 10s and 10 out of 10s. We're about to get into the data. All right, so this information is brought to you by Sheila Allen. She has a YouTube channel called Sheila Alien. I don't know how often she posts anymore, But, you know, we've had our little spats in the past, but I've always trusted her data. And so shout out to her for that. You see here saying The Last of Us 2. So adjusted to scrape an analysis of the latest 1,000 positive Metacritic user reviews for The Last of Us 2. And of those 1,000 reviews, 469 were verifiably fake. 47% of positive Last of Us 2 reviews are fake. What say ye? It's the same positive review posted over and over under different screen names going as far back as June 19th. So this bot has been artificially inflating the review score of the game for nearly a month. Oh, and the receipts are here as well. So here is the last 1,000 positive reviews for The Last of Us. And I'm interested in Neil Druckmann. I'm interested in what you have to say about this. And in particular, Paul Tassi as well. Okay? So you have a lot of games. Now, these are sorted alphabetically. All 8, 9s, and 10s for the most part. And you can see a lot of reviews look suspiciously the same. And maybe that just happens. You get like a masterpiece and better than the first, a masterpiece in design, a masterpiece in storytelling, a masterpiece. Like all these reviews start exactly the same with a masterpiece. That's not even what I'm talking about. How about these 5? Amazing game, a true masterpiece, amazing game, amazing game, amazing game, amazing game, amazing game, amazing game. Every one of these reviews start exactly the same. Nothing weird about that. It's possible. Best game I've ever played. Best game I've played in years. Best game I've ever experienced. Best game I've ever played. Best game I've ever played. Best game of the century. Best game of the year. Best Sony experience. I mean, that's probably a little more variation, but that's not, we're not even getting to what proves it. 47%. And you see a lot of these here. You have the username, you have a link to their user, the date they left the score, and the score they left. All right? So let's get down, you know, here. One of the best games, 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 one of the best games. Like, okay, you know, is it possible that we're all using the same kind of lead-in? Sure, it's possible. You're going to have some repetition. If this had sampled the full 100,000, you know, then we might have something here. But I'm really curious what Metacritic is going to do when we get down to review number 600 here. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Man, oh man, what a roller coaster of emotions. This game has been not just because it's a beautiful game, great gameplay, stealth, action, customizable, difficulty. Also, it's spelt the Euro way with an S. Just curious that you might say that. And here we go. Ready for this, Neil? Ready for this, game journalists? I'm sure you're going to write this article. I'm sure you're going to all say, we were wrong. And it's only, there are actually a lot of review brigading positive reviews. I can't wait to read that article on Forbes by you, Paul Tassi. I can't wait to read that article by, you know, on PlayStation Live or on Kotaku or Polygon or The Verge or Vox. All of these articles that got their clicks saying, angry gamers are review brigading our video game. Ready for this? Do 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 pretty pretty do 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 do. Pretty. Every single one of these, different username, link, different date, and a variety of scores. 8, 10, 9, 10, all positive reviews with the exact same review. 47% of the last 1,000 positive reviews are fake. Now, I have provided the receipts thanks to Sheila Allen. I have thrown the gambit down, Paul Tassi, Kotaku, Vox, Polygon. Every time you write an article about review brigading, I want everyone who watches this video, and hopefully they've subscribed down below, there's a little red button to subscribe. Hopefully they've left a like. I want you to show them this video. I want you to show them this data. 47% of the last 1,000 Last of Us 2 reviews are fake. I look forward to the article, all the articles from the totally unbiased video game media who want us all to believe that they're just real journalists doing their job. All right? You have all day to write these articles. This is a hot one, Paul Tassi. This is the scoop. I'm delivering you a scoop right here. You don't even have to admit you're wrong. Just cover the fact that they're fake. Just cover the fact that you have hundreds of users using the exact same review, reviewing the game as an 8, 9, or 10 to artificially inflate the score of The Last of Us 2. That's all I want. How about a tweet even, Paul Tassi? How about a tweet, Jason Schreier? Eric Kane? You know? Are you real journalists? Or is this going to be another thing you choose not to cover? Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.